It's been just over 4 years since 2 people were gunned down while eating at a Northeast restaurant, and we continue to make progress in this investigation. Today we are releasing surveillance pictures of 2 people who may have information about the shooting. The pair, considered persons of interest in this case, was captured on camera in a convenience store around the same time and near the homicide scene. On Sunday, October 26, 2008, at approximately 4 a.m., police responded to a report of a shooting in a restaurant located in the 4100 block of Marlborough Drive Northeast. When officers arrived, they discovered 1 woman and 1 man deceased inside the restaurant. 2 other men had also sustained injuries. Both of those men did recover from their injuries. The victims of this shooting were Tina Kong, 21 years of age, of Nanaimo, British Columbia, and Kevin Sam Bath Sess, 21, of Calgary. Both died as a result of this shooting. The shooting was deemed to be related to a long-standing grievance between 2 Calgary street gangs who were responsible for several high-profile acts of violence in 2005. We are asking anyone who has information about the men in these pictures to contact the police or Crime Stoppers.
So what makes the gang related? Were the victims part of the gang, the shooters, or intended targets?
I think the offenders in this incident are believed to be involved in gang activity.
So the guys in the pictures?
So the people in the pictures are persons of interest in this investigation. What we're doing today is releasing these pictures and asking anyone who has information about these 2 to contact the police or Crime Stoppers.
Grant, why release the pictures now, 4 years after the fact?
Like any homicide investigation, these investigations never close, and that's why we call them the unsolved cases and not cold cases. There's new information that's come to us that is helping us move this investigation forward right now. And based on that information, we're at a point now where we can come to you with these pictures of these 2 people that we need more information on now to advance the investigation any further.
Why wouldn't you have released the pictures 4 years ago if you have them? There was a case in New York yesterday where it was just released within hours of the homicide.
So I'm not familiar with the case in New York that you're speaking of. In any one of these, in any homicide investigation, especially ones in public places that are very large, very dynamic, the police, as routine, collect volumes of information. And at the time, sometimes it is difficult to tell what is relevant and what isn't. It's not uncommon to be in the situation where we are today, where at the time we did collect information, and now some years later, with more information, we're able to add better context to that piece of information that we collected some years ago.
So you would collect photos from all kinds of surveillance cameras in an area after a crime, so you've got them and then start wading through and narrowing them down?
Yes, and at the time, we may not get the information that we need to add the context to, say, that piece of information.
Is there a risk of tipping off people by releasing these photos now that they're close?
And that's something that the investigators involved in the investigation have to weigh. Yes, that is possible that we could tip persons off by releasing their photos in a situation like this. But I think the balancing side to that is we need a little more information than what we have now to advance the investigation.
What other cases have you linked this to? Other homicides?
I think it's well known from starting in 2005 to 2009, we experienced a high volume of public place shootings that included homicides that we really have related to these 2 groups. Specifically, and we can talk more about that after, or we can go through that. I don't have that list with me at this time.
So just a second part to that question, these 2 persons of interest that you're looking for, are they a person of interest solely in this case or possibly in other cases?
Today, right now, they're of interest in this case.
Did you receive more information from the public? You're talking about adding context to those.
Well, I think this investigation has received information recently that has progressed the investigation to put us to the point where now we can come forward and say we would really like to know more about these 2 people, because we feel that's going to help us advance the investigation even further.
Do you have your eye on
two suspects and you're just now, like, need the evidence, obviously, to lay the charges kind of thing?
I think I would say as a general response to that, it's not uncommon for the police to have probably well-developed theories in most of our unsolved cases. And our challenge in this case and in all the others is to get that information to the point where we can cross the hurdle of being able to lay a charge.
How do you characterize the gang war, gang conflict these days compared to where it was a few years ago?
Well, I think during these years, we're all familiar with what that looked like. I think what we have to remember and remind ourselves is to be vigilant, that these groups still exist, that they still have a presence in this city and in Western Canada, and it's our responsibility to maintain, I guess, our efforts to bring some of these cases to a point where we can lay murder charges.
Scale back, though, is it, whether that's due to arrests or other reasons, is it less intensive than it was?
Well, I think we can see that we're not having the public place shootings that we did at that time. We're not having the organized crime and or gang-related homicides that we were at that time. So yes, I think that the strategies that we've employed in this city certainly have made a difference, and you're able to see that in those statistics.
Can you tell us what sorts of charges you're looking at? Is this likely a case of first-degree murder?
I'm not sure right now. There would be a murder charge of some kind. I'm not sure exactly which one we would go with. And of course, in that process, we would consult with the Crown as to what evidence that we have and what the most appropriate charge is that we would lay.
Is there any connection with the Crime Stoppers reenactment last week where you released some information and a week later you're releasing more information in regards to the ongoing dispute between these two gangs?
And I think that we're starting to receive more information about these incidents. I'm not sure we're to the point where we can say they're connected, but you're absolutely right. We focused on another crime recently, and this is from about the same time period involving the same groups.
Were the victims the intended targets in this shooting?
Yes, we do believe they were the intended targets.
So were they part of, I guess, the gang scene as well? Or?
I think we have to look at that from maybe the offender's perspective. The offenders believe that the male in this situation was probably involved in some way.
Sorry, go ahead, Chris. Sorry, and what was your determination, that he was, or that?
We haven't come to a point where we can say that he was.
And the girl was?
And we believe the girl had no connection at all. She was just with him.
Sort of a case of an innocent bystander happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Definitely for her, and maybe for him. Again, it's not that he is that well known to us, but we're at the point where we do believe that maybe the offenders believe that he was, and that's the motive for why this happened. But again, we don't have all the pieces yet, and that's why we're here trying to get some more.
So you can't say whether Seth was known to police in a gang capacity?
Like I said, I think the best way to look at that is we believe that the offenders believe that he probably was.
But I think from reading backstories, unless I read it incorrectly, that police had said that he was involved in gangs.
He may, I'm not sure that as an active participant, probably not. Was he familiar with some of the persons involved? Probably.
Can you give us a little bit of a description just on how this unfolded? It was 4 o'clock in the morning. These suspects are masked, are they? Are they both armed or just one arm? Or you can't answer any of that?
I think that we can say, for the purposes of today, that offenders entered the restaurant and began to shoot at the 2 persons at the table. And as a result of that, other persons were shot during the incident.
Just to clarify, what's changed recently? I know you said you've had the photos for a while, you're able to narrow them down now. I think Roy asked if there was more public information lately. What's changed? We've got 4 years. What's changed in the last months or weeks?
So I would say there's more information that's come to our investigation through the public that has got us to this point, where we're now to the point where we would really like to identify who these 2 people are.
What about the other two people who were shot as well? What is their association?
So they've recovered from their injuries, and at this point in the investigation, we don't believe that they had any role in this at all.
Just a real rough number. In your unsolved counts, roughly how many are getting?
So again, our broad numbers are approximately 70 unrelated, 70 unsolved homicide files going back maybe 30 years. And approximately, we would say half of those are organized crime related.